Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Phandalin by Night. I am so excited to be back here for season 2 with my amazing, most of my amazing returning cast and one brand new cast member. I'm just waiting for chat to tell me that sound sounds all okay, or can we hear? Do we know? I think it's probably okay. I love this. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Steve. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Vancouver by Night's D&D game, Phandalin by Night, Season 2. We're so excited. Yeah, we're going to go around and get everybody to introduce just themselves, just yourselves. We're going to do character introductions in the roleplay itself, okay? So just yourselves for a second. And we're going to start with Sean.
Hey guys, I'm Sean. I'm going to be playing 9, the human Alloc this time. Yes. Sarah's not going to kill me at all. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. I didn't say that. That's not on me. I didn't promise that. Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I will be playing Whimsy the Tiefling Warlock, and I'm very excited to be
back. I am so excited that you're back, Sarah Prime.
Hello, my name is Sarah, and I'll be playing Graja Ragerock, the half-orc barbarian, she, her, for the both of us. So excited to be back at this table.
Nikki?
Hey everybody, Nikki here. I will be playing Denny, who is even more fabulous this season than the last. You're welcome.
I love the new ornaments and all the new horn bangles. We love that. And then joining our cast this season, we have a brand new face to introduce you to, and I can't wait to get into the lore behind this amazing character. Farah, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Farah. I am playing Max, or Maxine Kyle, a human wizbard.
We are so excited, the human wizbard. So we have 2 bards, and it's bar delicious. We love this so much. I also want to just shout out again, thank you to Steve and Joe and Vancouver by Night for having us back for season 2. We're so excited to be here. And I want to shout out one of our sponsors, Roll for Adventure. Adventure Dice is your Canadian source for dice, role-playing game accessories, and other tabletop gaming goodies. Many of the items on their site are handcrafted in beautiful British Columbia, Canada, which is where our channel is founded and where at least 2 of our players are from right now. Which is great. Okay, are you guys ready? Should we just get right into it? Okay, Sarah, immediately I am going to change the map on you. And I'm hope that I've pulled focus to the middle of the map. Did that pull everybody's focus? Yes. Great. Graja. Boom. Vaguely aware of the pain from your chipped tusk, blood is flowing from a wound in your head. Boom. On your knees, you can see that your great axe is on the ground, cleaved in 2. Boom. Coppery taste fills your mouth as blood from whatever battle this is has taken a toll on you. The ground seems stable beneath your knees, but bits of rubble are falling from above. Boom! You wipe the blood from your eye, and you see a bit of green flesh trapped, crushed under a rock, a boulder. Your hands shoot out in front of you, and they're both there. Your legs, you start checking your body. Your hands search quickly. Your hands check your body, your extremities. This green flesh isn't yours. And immediately your stomach drops.
Hello? What's going on?
You call out, and you can hear the sounds of, well, mostly ringing in your ears. You have taken a blow to the head. You can hear some boulders shifting and some rock moving from somewhere in the darkness that surrounds you. But you don't hear anybody else respond to you.
Okay. Okay. I can figure this out. There's nobody here. It's just me. Okay. Can I just like move around in the open space? Okay, so
You're the only person in initiative, so you can move as you would like to.
okay. So I'm going to move kind of northwards up here.
You see a little green arm sticking out from under this giant boulder.
No, that's no. And Graja will crouch down and like get closer to the green arm to like inspect it.
You pick it up, and it is, you go to like cradle it gently in your arms, and it is still maybe connected to whatever is under the boulder, but it's not like it's not articulating because the skin is still attached. The ligaments are not.
Do I feel a pulse in the wrist?
Give me a medicine check.
Okay. Oh, my heart's beating so fast. Okay. D20. Medicine. 5. Come on, dice.
It's really hard with everything else that's going on. Your senses are overwhelmed. You are not the person who does the most medical work in your group here. And it's really hard to find on a hand so small, on a wrist so small.
Can I start moving like the rocks and debris off of where the arm has been buried?
You do, yeah.
Okay.
Give me a strength check.
Okay. Okay, come on. 12.
You push, you try to shoulder and like body check this boulder to get it off of Droop's crushed body, but it is not moving. And you go to grab your great axe because that would make for great leverage, and the handle just crumbles in your hands. As you're kind of looking around, you see bits of gray fur matted with blood red. And you see at least 2 of the wolves down around you.
What is happening? What is going on? And she will move to just like look at the, like move over here to check the wolves. And like yeah, go ahead.
As you move, more of whatever this dark space is starts to become viewable by you. And you can see that huge chunks of boulder have fallen. Some of them look to be carved and shaped. Some of them just look to be sharp and naturally formed.
And she moves forward again slightly.
No, this is a dream. I'm somewhere else. Like that time when we went with Whimsy to that other place so we could save Jart. No, I'm somewhere else. This isn't real. This isn't real.
Make a wisdom check.
Okay, so just roll the straight wisdom and then add whatever
just your
there.
wisdom modifier,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. 3.
You, as you're saying this to yourself, trying to convince yourself to wake up from whatever hellish nightmare this is, your eyes are searching around, and actually you see movement in front of you. You see pale silvery hair reaching out and trying to say something to the purple tiefling that you've called your friend for so long. Max, do you want to introduce yourself?
So Max is about 5'3", silver hair, bright red lute that she carries, purple scarf. She's dressed simply, and she uses a guitar pick as her magical focus. Kind of tanned but white skin, very glamorous.
And you can see Max incanting something, not just talking to Denny, saying some kind of magic, sending some kind of something to Denny. And you see Denny climbed up on top of a statue and reaching for, I mean, first off, this statue is toppled and rubble. But what part of it still stands, it almost looks like this statue would have been maybe 15, 20 feet tall. And the torso has sheared completely straight down. And you see Denny like climbed up onto the shoulder of this thing, reaching around onto like the face of this gigantic stone statue as Max is giving some kind of buff or inspiration. I mean, you've been in battle with bards before. You understand that this is more than just, hey, be careful, you know?
Yeah. Graja's moving toward the statue. To kind of like up here by this foot, maybe arm, foot? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As you clear the rubble that that Droop is buried under, you see Whimsy about 15 feet up, impaled on a spear or spike or something.
Ow.
Not moving.
No! No! This is all wrong! This is all wrong! How did I get here? Who are you?
And she's pointing at the person with the silver hair.
You know who Max is. Max
Okay, that's
has been around.
That's
Max has been around the Coneyberry house. Max is new. Max
That's
is
true.
like Whimsy's kind of drinking buddy, and Denny and Max quickly became like sit out on the back porch on a warm summer night and play guitar together buddies. Do you know? Like,
Yeah,
very
I'm
much,
just
like,
that
have a vibe.
disoriented. I'm just that
Absolutely.
disoriented.
Absolutely. And like in
yeah.
battle, like Max from Coneyberry, seeing Max in this place with the destruction and devastation that's around you is absolutely jarring. Not what you expect. There's not the context here to know this.
Do I see Denny clearly though, and that's Denny.
That's Denny. Denny's
He's
moving.
up there.
Denny's trying to grab something from around like the face of the statue.
Okay, so Graja looks up there and just says,
Denny, talk to me. What's going on?
No response.
Okay, so Graja then, can I move through this like rubble on the ground? Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so Graja's gonna move here and wants to get a closer look at Whimsy's state here.
I mean, Garage is tall, right? But even reaching up, standing on tippy toes, you can't reach Whimsy's dangling feet. Whimsy is impaled, wash from Serenity style, like well above you.
Not that. Not that.
Reaver spiked.
Ouchie. Ouchie, ouchie. Okay.
Maybe climbing on a boulder, you could get a better view.
Okay. Yeah, so I will climb on top. Can I climb here?
There's a and there's
here,
another
this
little
one's
one over here,
better.
whichever one you prefer.
This one looks better. It has a bit more like surface area, so.
You go to reach your hand up and your hand slips down and you look at it and it's covered in blood and bits of gray fur. As you get up, crest the top, you see Gary at the bottom, head kind of caved. And then beyond that, you can see Nine's body, crumpled, armor dented, the gold just smeared with red blood.
And I don't have any like memories or idea of why I would be here or what these surroundings are. It's all just kind of unknown.
Give me like a nature or like a history check. You also, as you're moving, you're hearing this regular thrumming boom, boom. Like, I can't say that it's 100% like every exactly on the minute. Sometimes it comes in shorter chunks, and then sometimes it's a little bit longer. But you're hearing a pretty regular sound.
Okay, that's good to know. So, I mean, Garage is just taking emotional blow after emotional blow. Now having seen Nine, now having seen Gary, and like, I feel like there's almost like some blurring in the vision and like a little bit of like heart palpitation. So she's just like on top of this boulder, kind of like, and she then wants to look now at a better vantage point at Whimsy.
You start to climb up, and as you stand up, you can see that Whimsy is staked through. Something must have forced Whimsy onto this position, like hanging a towel on a hook. Not necessarily like an explosion blew Whimsy. Whimsy was placed here.
Okay, so you said nature or history. May I do nature?
You may.
Okay, and now because I'm relying on my dice, I know I add that bonus, but it's got the like proficiency. Does that add another thing onto it?
Right. So It's whatever the number is next to nature is what you're going
it
to add to your
automatically
D20.
does that. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, that's 13.
13 total.
Yeah.
And you're looking for information about where you are?
Yeah, where I am, or like the context of this place.
Something that really above and beyond just the booming that you're hearing with some fair regularity. Rubble is falling all around you, bigger chunks. You can hear huge chunks splitting off and hitting something, little pieces of rock falling. You are not in the open. You are in a cavern of some kind. And what's really interesting is these, as you're up here and you start to see, I'll just make a much bigger space for you to look at here. There are these black obsidian. There is a natural formation to them, but they have also been carved away, almost dwarven. Like, you grew up in the hills, you definitely saw dwarven handicrafts, from time to time. There is a bit of kind of dwarven carving to these obsidian pillars that make them look like this is a room with a purpose, plus the additional statue, like this is a place that has a purpose that people built.
Okay, got it. So I think having gotten a slightly better idea of both how Whimsy was placed there and then the surroundings in general, I think Raja is, because Denny is the only person that she has seen besides Max that's moving and doing and is not actively unconscious, if not deceased. So Graja's moving right up here, not climbing the statue that Denny is on top of, but right below it, here. And she's gonna look up and just be like,
Denny! Denny, please!
9, you hear Graja screaming from the next room, screaming at the top of her lungs. Denny, please, Denny.
I think 9, he looks over in her direction. What state is 9 in right now?
You kind of woke up from a dead sleep. Your room is dark, but you know where the candle is. It's on your nightstand.
Oh, well, if in that case, 9 gets up and he proceeds to wherever you hear Graja yelling from.
You get up out of bed and your feet touch the cool terracotta tile of your Coneyberry estate. And you open the door quietly, as you were trained to so many years ago. And you take a few steps down the hall and Graja's door is shut. But you can kind of hear Droop crying and saying, Graja, wake up, Graja.
Okay, 9 goes into the room. Does he see Droop trying to?
Oh yeah, Droop looks at you terrified, but also so glad to see you. And he's like, she won't wake up. Help me. She's so scared. I don't like seeing her scared.
9 tells the Droop, he's like, relax, it'll be fine. Just stand back real quick. And kind of knowing Graja, 9 goes over and he kind of he's gonna start to wake her up, but he's gonna grab her in case she he doesn't know what kind of night terror she's having at this moment. So he's gonna grab her arms specifically and try to like beckon her to wake up, like start yelling at Graja, please wake up.
And you shake her once, you shake her twice, and sure enough, she comes up swinging. She does not like to be woken up in the best of times, and this is not the best of times. And she comes up swinging, and you're in her room. You guys are together in Coneyberry. Graja, you're in your room. Droop is
Graja.
sitting there. He immediately climbs up into your lap and puts his arms around your neck.
And she like takes Droop, like kind of takes him by the torso and kind of like puts him back and is just like checking his arms, like, and his like legs, and just like making sure he's going,
Droop, you're okay, and 9, you're okay too. It was just a dream.
What's going on, friend?
I was in this cavern, and everything was falling apart with these sounds, these boom, 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 these sounds, and you were laying on the ground, and you were covered in blood, and all the wolves, Whimsy's wolves, were dead, and Droop was under a big boulder, and Whimsy was on a spike, and Denny was on top of a statue, and Max was there right next to him, and they were doing something, but they wouldn't respond to me. No,
you know who Max is.
You know who Max is.
You guys know who Max is.
Yeah, we know.
I'm in the dream. I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah, you guys know who Max is.
Yeah. Okay, so she kind of continues,
but they wouldn't respond to me, and everyone was really badly hurt, and I don't know why we were there, or I mean, it was maybe some dwarven stuff, so I don't know.
Well, as you can see, I'm perfectly fine. If you would like, I could check on the others if that would make you more comfortable.
Yeah, I gotta see Whimsy. I gotta see him with my own eyes.
All right, and then 9 just kind of picks himself up. I'm assuming he was tossed a little bit by Graja.
Yeah.
He
Sorry.
proceeds. You're fine, friend. You're good. He goes and starts checking the others.
Max, Denny, Whimsy, and the 5 wolves have just come in from, I can't even say it was like a night of drinking. They just are constantly drinking. I feel like that's part of the Coneyberry lifestyle that they've chosen for themselves. But they were drinking. Now they're at home, and they're just walking in as 9, you open the door from Graja's room. Whimsy and Denny, you see 9 in the middle of the night in pajamas coming out of Graja's room.
No judgment, buddy.
It is not what you think. I'm glad to see that you're okay, though. It seems our friend was having quite a nightmare.
Whimsy peeks his head in and asks if Graja wants a drink.
Whimsy,
Offers a mimosa.
you're okay? You don't
3 a.m. mimosa.
and Graja will walk over and grab it and just down it in one.
Shots.
This is not like a pretty brunch mimosa. This is a Whimsy mimosa. So it is essentially in like, I don't know, what's the next thing bigger than like a pint? It is like a mini keg. Yeah, it's a pitcher. Yeah, same size mimosa umbrella and like one little orange twist. But
So I just drank like 40 ounces of mimosa.
Start your morning right.
it's like
Yeah,
3
so
a.m.
Graja still drinks. Yeah, she still drinks all of it, regardless.
expect.
Droop has not let you go, Graja. Droop is still like clung onto you.
Okay.
I guess I just had a really bad dream. It seemed really real, but it wasn't, I guess.
And I was there?
Yeah, I mean, you were like on a spike. And probably dead.
Not the way I prefer to be dreamed about, but
I guess it's just one of those things. Is my mind making stuff up just to make me scared. It doesn't mean anything. It's fine.
You say that out loud, but you do not believe that. This was not a nightmare. This was not a dream. There is more to this.
Whimsy sort of reaches up and puts his hand on Josh's shoulder and is just like, dreams are important. Sometimes they mean more than we think. Sometimes they're just us worrying about things. But they're always important.
Maybe I should write it down. That's what people do sometimes with dreams, right?
Can't hurt. Write it down before you forget it.
Okay, I'm gonna do that, but first I gotta see Denny.
Denny and Max are just beyond the wolves, and in the hallway, in the main hallway entrance there.
And half
Yeah.
cut.
Okay, so
Fully cut.
Garage is moving past them to be right here.
I'm super sick, stream, in case you can't tell. I'm just gonna go blow my nose. I'll be back in 2 minutes, but I can hear you guys, so keep going.
Okay, so Graja, yeah, basically just approaches Denny and Max.
Both of you are okay, right? You're not hurt or anything?
Should I be?
Oh, my head's probably gonna hurt tomorrow morning, but I'm feeling fine now.
Raj, are you alright? You look really tired. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just had a really bad nightmare. It seemed really real. And you were there and Max was there. Everybody was there. Some of you were hurt. It was like a cave and it was really bad and bloody and scary. It just seemed really real, but I guess it wasn't. 9 woke me up.
How much cheese did you eat before you went to bed? That might be why. That always does it for me.
I mean, you keep bringing in such good cheese.
How can I not? I mean, this place is great. But I haven't seen you quite this wound up before. Maybe I should stop buying cheese.
Yeah, I'll just have to make sure I guess, more careful what I eat before I go to bed, because I definitely don't want to see that again.
Do you think you're going to be able to get back to sleep?
I don't know. I did just drink a pitcher of Whimsy's mimosas. So maybe.
Okay, so you got like 5 minutes. All right.
If you would like, I could keep watch if you would like to get a little more rest. If that would make you more comfortable, Graja.
I don't want to go back to sleep just yet. I just like to see all of you and just be here for a second before I go back.
And she like hugs Droop like tighter to her, and she looks back at Max and Denny and she says,
Denny, you were on top of this really huge statue. And Max, you were right by him, and you were like, I don't know, maybe doing magic or something like that, but you couldn't hear me in the dream.
What was the statue of?
DM, I don't know how much I took in, if I took in that there were like limbs to the statue, because I did see that like arm or whatever.
Yeah.
Like...
It's typically when there are statues of that size and that level of carving, they're like one of two types of kinds of things, right? They're a deity or they're a famous person. And you get the feeling based on some of like the vagueness to the face, instead of like statues that are of actual people are like quite detailed because they are meant to be the effigy of that person, right? This was maybe more of the deity. You could swear, now that you're trying to think about it, now that Denny's asking you, I mean, it couldn't be, but it had one glowing green eye like Grumsh. That's so weird. Like, but it couldn't have been Grumsh because orcs don't hew stone in that way.
So Graja responds to Denny.
It was definitely like a big figure, of like a person or maybe a god, and it maybe had this one glowing green eye. Which kind of makes me remember Groomsh, but that can't be right, because, I mean, in the time I spent at home growing up, orcs, we didn't do that. We didn't make stuff out of stone like that.
DM, would 9 be aware of Grumps?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
Roll me a religion check.
14.
I mean, you and Graja have had lots of conversations over the last couple of weeks since you all left Cragmaw Castle and kind of came to settle in Coneybury. You and her have had a lot of conversations about your moving towards your faith and wanting something more out of your connection with Lathander, and her kind of deconstructing her faith and the faith that was kind of forced on her as a child, which was Grumsh. And you two have had a lot of very like respectful and healthy conversations around the role that religion can support or create trauma, and so you understand from her perspective why Grumsh would just be that added layer of terror for what you, when you walked into that room and you heard her screaming, like you were at her side when Najra died. You were there. You watched her go through that rage, and this was as intense.
I guess 9 would look at Graja like, do you think it was Grumps, a statue of him? You referenced the green eye. Is it something you've been struggling with lately?
No, honestly, I thought I was getting past all that. I thought I made a lot of progress, honestly, in dealing with that and leaving it behind. So it's almost like it was there to scare me.
Have you ever had a dream like this before?
No, I don't think I've ever really had one this bad that I can remember.
This wasn't a dream, Graja.
Oh, I know. I'm just lying.
Yeah, whether or not you're wanting to admit it to them. So are you wanting to hide from them that you think that there was more to it than it just being a dream?
No, I don't know. I don't think she would necessarily. They've been through so much like weird, wild stuff together. Um that I ultimately, like, maybe she was mulling it over whether or not to bring it up until this point, but once Denny asked her about it, I think she would probably come clean, maybe if she dances around it a little bit. So she would say, she would look at everybody and say,
Listen, I know I'm here, and I see everybody, and everybody's fine. But it didn't seem like a dream to me. It seemed real. Like, I don't know what that means, but it really didn't seem like a dream. It really seemed like it happened, or maybe it's gonna happen. I mean, I don't have any magic stuff going on, so I don't really understand this, but I swear it didn't it seemed real. It was real.
Well, I'm not very familiar with prophecies or prophetic dreams. Closest thing we had to a prophet in my town was some guy that was always wrong about the weather. But maybe we should
Look, if you're 100% wrong, that's not coincidence. Like randomness is 50-50, right?
That's true. But maybe we should talk to some sort of priest in town or something. So I don't like this look for you, Graja. I like it way more when you're happy. I'd prefer that. So I think we should probably look a bit more into this.
Would Whimsy have any knowledge about spooky dreams? From his line?
Roll me. What do you think Whimsy's connection to, like, are you thinking that Whimsy thinks that this is like prophetic, or that this is like a vision of future, or do you think this is like a time bendy kind of a thing? Like where does Whimsy, is this an arcane thing? Is it somebody like fucking with Graja's mind? Like what does Whimsy have a suspicion that this is?
Whimsy's probably either leaning towards some sort of timey-wimey nonsense, or someone projecting into her mind, because...
Yeah, give me an Arcana check. And now we wait.
And now we wait, because my computer is slow. It builds suspense.
Classic.
6
It
years
does.
later.
I have actual dice now that I could roll, but one, I forget about them, and two, then I need to do math and add things manually. It was a natural one. Whimsy has never heard a dream before in his life.
Whimsy is so drunk that he can't even.
Whimsy is working in the back of Whimsy's mind on a patent for, like, should we call them Whimosas or Mimsies? Like, what? There's something here.
Mimsy, that's not even a question.
There is something to be discovered, patented, perhaps. You've been watching Denny getting to set up like Tarkin textiles, and Denny has started to, kind of spread the word about his family business, and you're like, oh no, actually I could start a mimosa bakery. That's for sure a thing.
Except he really shouldn't start a business because he does not understand how money works.
But look, you can get mimosas and you could trade them. When people drink your Mimsies, they tell you things. Like, you're not in this for money. Currency is what you make of it, Whimsy.
Yeah, Whimsy's in deep thought about that. He's only half paying attention, apparently.
Okay, fair enough. So Graja just says,
I have to make sure that it doesn't happen. That's what I'm taking away. Not after Velen, not after Jart. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna make sure it doesn't.
I mean, I'd certainly like to not get impaled, so I'm a fan of that line of thinking.
Max, when you're watching this, like you've been around on like, potluck nights and hanging out for game nights with the group. And, Nine is usually pretty reserved and Graja is open enough, but not maybe not the charismatic type as much as the two tieflings here. And their monk friend has kind of come and gone over the last couple of weeks, is currently gone, but you're watching something new in this group for the first time. You knew that they were formed together under the pact of like some kind of trauma and some of the bullshit that's going on out in the non-Coneyberry world. What is Max thinking of all of this?
So usually Max would be turning on the charm, would be maybe trying to cheer Graja up, but this doesn't seem the moment, and she has enough insight into people to know that sometimes you just gotta shut up. But she is listening very interestedly about a barbarian who seems to be, well, having prophetic visions, especially ones involving Max. So she if there's a lull, as Graja just says, like, we can't let this happen, she'll just interject and say, well, I mean, we can try to pull the pieces together, the any of the clues that you saw, and, well, we can just try to avoid it, can't we? You said there was a statue. I kind of overheard you. We can avoid whatever that is, right? I mean, we're here in the city. It's not as if there's terribly large statues here, besides, a couple here and there. Really, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely won't forget what that place looks like and what went on. I don't think I'm gonna forget that anytime soon, so yeah, maybe we can avoid it, but we still have a lot to do. Glassstaff is still out there. Like, we don't know where that stuff is gonna take us yet. So I don't know if it can be avoided, like, overall, but yeah, at least I know what it looks like. I mean, Max, you don't know why I'd have this type of dream, do you?
I don't think Max has ever dabbled in prophecy. So she'll say, well, I've heard of dreams and certainly night terrors and things, but prophecy is a little outside of my wheelhouse. I'm more in the, beautiful glamours and such. Speaking of, I mean, if there's anything I can conjure for you that'll help calm you down a bit, perhaps, or even if you want to try, we can try conjuring the thing so that we all know what it looks like, so that if we do encounter it in the future, we can, maybe minus the bodies, but they will recognize it.
Whimsy sort of pulls out the rod of security and sort of flails it around drunkenly, like, tell you what, you see the place where all this went down, and we'll go away, we'll regroup, we'll think about it. It'll be fine. Safety.
Oh.
Like, I'll just get us out of there. You say this is bad place, we're gone.
I mean, you come back to the same place. It's fine.
Drunk.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a prophecy. I don't want anything to do with something like that.
Wonder why you had this prophetic dream.
If it was Groosh, then
yes, that could definitely be.
Do you feel like he's trying to reach out to you?
I don't know. I mean, beyond just the statue that I think looked like him, I don't know why he'd want to reach out to me. I don't want anything to do with them. I thought I made that very clear.
It's not, Grasha, like you remember hearing Velen. Well, I mean, you've seen the Raven Queen with your eyes. You remember Najra talking about Saloon. You've talked to Nine about Lathander. This is not like any of those experiences where they, for better or for worse, whether they wanted it or not, they had an intense connection. Like, you're only thinking that it was Grumsh now on the other side, like on the waking side of this, looking back and trying for your brain to try to analyze some answers there. This doesn't feel like it's connected in the way that all of the people of faith around you describe those kinds of connections.
Okay, that's good to know. So Graja says,
I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily Groomsh. I'm not 100% sure. And, you know, things, even now, I think are getting kind of fuzzy. Because that's what happens with dreams, right? You just forget after a while. But I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me why I would have this kind of thing. Like, I just can't have that stuff happen. I don't think I'd make it through.
Well, I say we finish this entire bottle of gin right now. Get back to sleep. Just try and not think about this for a little while. I think we should regroup in the morning and try and find a professional about this to talk to. They might have a bit more insight. Or, counter argument, we could just go for brunch. Either way, but I think it's time that we all went to bed. And I'm not just saying that because Whimsy's about to fall down.
Yeah, the Cora here in Coneyberry is 24 hours. It's always, the brunch place is always open.
And
brunch is just a state of mind, man.
Yeah, Garage is definitely like starting to feel the mimosa picture at this point. I feel like so she like kind of looks over at Denny and Max, kind of like all like huge watery eyes, and be like,
"Before we go to bed, can you play a song?"
I would love to. Crush, is there something or a place or an animal, I don't know, something that brings you joy? Not someone here, but like, you know, in the world.
Or is there someone here?
Well, but I'm not going to magically illusion someone that's already here. Waterfall, fireflies.
What about trees?
Trees I can do. And she starts to play. She pulls out her her guitar pick and starts to play, and the room fills with a forest that twinkles in like twilight with like big massive trees and fireflies. It smells like moss, and you can kind of hear water somewhere, but just it fills the room.
Immediately the wolves are peeing on the trees. Like, somebody's going to clean that mess up tomorrow.
Oh, we're going to be cleaning that up. Can someone prestidigitate that away?
Yeah.
And Graja's just like looking around in like wonder, and just definitely like seems to calm down. And now that like some of the massive injection of cortisol and adrenaline is on the way down, the plus the alcohol, the kind of crash is starting, and just with Droop there in her arms, even like standing up, her eyes start to like just close.
I guess I'll go to bed now.
Whimsy reaches down and pats Carl the wolf's head and tells her to, and sort of nudges her to go to Graja's bed. You get the biggest wolf to cut him.
Awesome.
Whimsy just sort of low-key growls at the wolf and tells her to go.
Group, as Graja, as you're like starting to like wind yourself down, Group does kind of like monkey jump over to Denny and gets really close to Denny's ear and just whispers, "Please don't stop bringing cheese, though. I really like the cheese."
You got it, buddy. Craft singles coming your way. Don't worry.
Yes. And he does like a little fist pump and then like jumps back to Graja. And
I think with that, Graja is going back to her bedroom with Droop and Carla.
Carl.
Carl.
I'm sorry, Carl.
Carl.
And
Carl is a girl.
Right, but it's still Carl. I do remember this now.
We don't use real names because it's rude to give away somebody's real name. So,
right. So I think then the three, the half-orc, the goblin, and the large wolf fall asleep in a pile on Graja's bed.
Mm-hmm. And I think everybody should be able to move themselves. Max, are you gonna crash on a couch? Or are you going back to your apartment?
It's like 3 something in the morning. I suspect this is not the first time I have crashed at their house.
No.
So
I believe the guest
I'll
room
find
is
a couch
unofficially
or-
Max's room.
Yeah. I left a spare pair of clothes here just in case, just
absolutely. You've
toothbrush.
been hanging longer and longer times at the Coneyberry place. I mean, it is still daytime outside. Coneyberry is like always daytime. But why go outside into the blistering heat when you could just make yourself comfortable? Can everybody, I think everybody can move themselves. Denny, your room is the opulent room with the piano.
No, this is just floor 1. All of our bedrooms are actually upstairs.
Oh, hey, I did not see floor 2. That's on me. I will add that to the map for next week.
Okay.
That's good to know. I was like, I mean, maybe people are doubling up. I don't really know what the sleeping situation is. That totally makes sense, actually, that there's a second story to this.
Yes. Yeah, the 2 bedrooms down here are just
dog.
guest bedrooms. And then there's the library, the dining room, and the one with the piano is the music room.
Of course, naturally.
That's why there's bagpipes.
Yes. Yeah. No, I see it now. That makes total sense to me now. You all find yourselves to some kind of rest for the evening. Raja, you sleep soundly for the rest of the night. You're gonna be a little bit buzzed in the morning between still kind of like the afters of just being woken up with that much like cortisol and adrenaline floating through your system, and then drinking a pitcher of Mimsy. It's going to play Mary Hobb with you tomorrow, but for tonight, you end up sleeping soundly. 9, you and Graja had an appointment, not an appointment of sorts, but you two had been going out and doing. It's been a couple of weeks since Cragmaw Castle had been kind of cleaned out of King Groll's like shit people, and the Grick was killed. The Grick was killed, and you guys had cleared it out. The Genasi monastery that Jart belonged to has taken it over and is slowly starting to rebuild it into being a satellite, into being like a satellite monastery, because the actual monastery is so far away. And Jart is actually like the administrator at the site now, which is why Jart just is so busy, isn't always with you guys. But Jart has been sending regular dispatches to you, 9, for you and Graja, who wanted to keep up your skill. You guys are still on the hunt for glass staff. You're still looking for other members of whomever can be involved in what happened in Phandalin. And you guys are starting to make these other connections. And you've received a notice from Jart that Graja, you and Nine wanted to go check out. It's about halfway between where Coneyberry is and where Cragmaw Castle is. It's in the Neverwinter Forest. I'm sorry, Thunder Tree Forest. And you two can head out there. If you wanted to go early, maybe you could clear it out and be back within like 36 hours. It doesn't sound like it's going to be. Sounds like it's a fairly small band of mercs that need to be tossed on their ass and told to stop harassing what is slowly regaining to be trade routes along the Triborar trail between Phandalin, which has started to become resettled again, Leylon, which is on the coast, Coneyberry, not that a lot of people know about it, and then going in further to Tribor itself, which is where Denny's family is from. Let me throw up an area map. How about if we do that? Would that make it easier for everybody? Okay. There we go. So you guys are here in Coneyberry. You've been to deliver a couple of other packages to Agatha the Banshee a couple of times, who Graja is perpetually sure that Agatha has something for Graja. Denny, you see that that's more of like Agatha would very much like some undead company and not in like a partner kind of way. So where Graja and Nine are headed is, kind of like up into the forest here. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. That location. I mean, even with a bit of a headache or whatever, Graja would be wanting to sit out, as early as she could to take care of this with Nine, so she'd be ready to go.
Yeah, Nine would probably walk up to Graja and basically ask, "Are you up for today's journey? Are you going to be okay checking out these woods, or would you like me to go by myself? I can, if you needed time."
I appreciate that, Nine, but I'm gonna go with you. I feel okay, and I'd rather do something and be of service, than just sit around and think about the stuff that I saw. So, yeah, I'm good. We should head out.
All right.
And you two go. Nine, you have been, before you go and do anything like this, you're always quick to reach out to Lathander and like make sure that that you're going to be safe, especially things feel off after what happened last night. How do you reach out to Lathander? What are you asking for?
Oh, actually, before Nine laid down last night, after seeing Graja go through her nightmare, or what he believes right now, and he'd basically go to his room, grab his clasp off of his cloak, and sit down and try to reach up to Lathander. He would first inquire about, is anybody trying to reach out to Graja, or is Grumps trying to make contact, or what was she having a dream, or was this a prophecy that she was seeing while sleeping, or but yeah, he would basically try to inquire about that to see if
Okay. Yeah, give me a religion check with advantage because you and your deity have a special connection.
That's 16.
A 16, you feel that really familiar warmth that you do. I mean, Lathander is also the sun god, and that makes a lot of sense. But you don't get the feeling that this is some kind of like divine intervention, for better or for worse, that it's not deity specifically related.
Okay.
In that, and you have had kind of feelings like that from Lathander before, specifically around like anything that was going on with Thunder Soul. Like there was some shifty ass stuff, like the Raven Queen set you on edge and you weren't happy about it. This doesn't feel like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess continuing to speak with him and getting that feedback from Lathander, he would state that, basically say, Lathander, I am more than grateful for the situation that you placed me in, the abilities that you've enhanced within me. And I truly do feel sorrowful for asking, but is there anything that you can send my way that would better help me with your will? Like, is there anything? And then he would probably just sit and continue to pray.
It's Coneyberry, so it's always light outside. But there is something in this moment, a burst of sunbeam shoots through like the edge of your curtain and shines onto the wall across from your bed. And you just feel like, oh shit, Lathander's actually listening. There might be something to this.
I think Nine would sort of crack us like a slight smile when he's seen that beam of light come through the curtains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you finally do get to sleep, you sleep soundly, and the two of you head out the next day. As I said, it's a fairly routine thing. You two are getting quite good at fighting together. You two have practiced a lot of skill. Each of you had individually done quite a lot of training with Jart, but since Jart's focus is now restoring the monastery or building a monastery, you two have had to learn how to work together. And it has taken some practice because Nine, you are a soldier. You are trained with precision and tactics. And it is the opposite of the battle rage, the bloodlust that flows through Graja, who just, hacks away at everything. But you two have learned, even amongst barbarians, there is some level of tactical, like you don't want to take out, your fellow barbarian, right? So you've had to learn, Nine, a little bit of impromptu movement. You were, if I could make a different allegory, you were trained in like classical ballet. You were trained in precision movements, and this is the way, and these are the steps. And Graja is a little bit more hip hop, and you've got like a whole, what's that movie with Styles and
Step
Save
Up?
the Last Dance.
Oh,
Save the Last Dance.
Yeah,
yes, but
it.
Step Up also, where you've had to kind of learn this different technique. And at the same time, Graja has learned, oh, okay, wait a second. Now, if I clear out this wedge, then you come in around me and finish everybody off. Like you two have learned some dance together.
Oh, some tag team movements, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will even say that if you two are within 5 feet of each other, you two will gain advantage. You two can roll at advantage for attacks if you two are within 5 feet of each other.
Hell yeah. That's
because
awesome.
you two specifically in our session 0 said that you two had been training together. So I want to reward that.
Love it. Thank you.
And so yeah, you guys have been working on that. And as such, being who you are, this clear out goes real smooth. And you guys return to Coneyberry about 2 days later. And Graja, you come in, Droop is there, excited to see you, giving you a big hug. Definitely has the cheese farts. Like, Denny did not let down on this. It is what it is. 9, you strip down your gear, you clean it really thoroughly, and you head into your room, and you open the door and walk into your room and are blinded by light. And you close the door behind you and pull a dagger out from your belt that you always, just a little knife. It'll do some real damage up close. You're not about to get caught off guard. No. And you've just got your hand wrapped around it. And you hear Lathander say, "Ah, my son, right on time. Excellent." And as the light starts to clear away, you see he kind of looks like Santa Claus. Like, he's got this big white bushy beard, and he is old but also very young, like Rob Lowe. Like, like Paul Rudd. Like, he's older, but also cannot possibly be as old. You know what I'm saying? And like,
yeah, like
Jackie Chan. Like, Jackie Chan doesn't look like he's 80, right? It's kind of that similar thing going on. Long white beard and a comfortable table. It's not like a huge feasting, like some of the deities would have like a Valhalla setting and it would be like a huge feasting table for warriors. That's not Lathander's vibe. Lathander is an intimate god who wants close connection with his champions and followers. And he waves you over and tells you to come sit at his table.
9 without question goes and has a seat before him.
You don't remember much of your life before you were forced into the service that you were forced into as a very young child. But there is a little hunk of bread that is on the table before you that with just a single whiff, that this was your grandma's bread, that your grandma used to bake this for you when you would get home from like preschool. Your grandma baked this bread for you. And it's maybe the first time that you've thought of your family in maybe a decade. You don't have many memories. This has unlocked something for you. And you go to reach for a piece of it and it is warm and fresh out of the oven. It's crusty on the outside and like nice and fluffy on the inside. And Lathander says, "Ah, yes, I'm quite glad that you appreciate that. She was a wonderful woman, your grandmother, and happily served me all the days of her life and has joined so many on this side."
I think 9 just kind of sitting there holding the bread in front of him. Just basically just says to Lathander, it's like I know this person and don't at the same time. Like, how did I not remember her?
He takes a really deep sigh. For as much as we deities would like to claim control over the things that happen, often our followers or those that don't follow anybody have so much more interference in the way that things should work. And I truly am sorry for the circumstances that you were raised in. It's not what any of us would have wanted. well, maybe there's a couple. And he points to a wall, and you can see it's almost like a family tree of deities. And you can see that there's a couple that are like, their pictures aren't polished. There's dust on them. Like, they clearly are not getting the love that a couple of the other ones. You recognize like Saloon. You recognize the Raven Queen, for better or for worse. She has a role to play. But there are a couple that clearly are the black sheep of the pantheon. And, he says, unfortunately, not everything is up to us. That's why we rely on champions and good people and people who serve us and people who don't serve anybody to do the right thing and to make life better for everybody. That's why you're here, right? You wanted to serve me. You wanted to do better things. I think you're muted.
Yeah, Nine would just basically say, yeah, that's my goal. Was that her purpose as well? Does she have a name?
She does. And in time, not soon, I hope, in time, you will also get to come to this side and you will be reunited with her. She did have such purpose in her life, and she was a tremendous force of good for her community. Until her last moments, she provided comfort and strength and support for you and for everybody in that village. And it's because of her strength of character that flows through you that I know that you're the right person for this job. And he kind of taps his finger, and it's the first time you notice that there is a little envelope on the table.
Nine, he'll pick up the envelope and look at it.
It is, it's addressed to you quite formally. But as you go to like run your finger over the ink, it's almost like fireflies, it dissipates and then comes back as your finger moves over the top of it.
I guess Nine, he'd start trying to read the letter.
You open it up, and the letter says, "The Forge of Spells has been rediscovered. If we cannot assure its security for those of us who would do the right, then surely it will be used to destroy everyone." And the second page is a map.
Yeah, Nine, he would kind of glance over the map a little bit. And then he would take it and put the letter and the map away. And basically just say to Lathander, I guess you have given me my next heading.
He puts his hand on your shoulder, and it's both heavy and like reassuring, like a dad or like a granddad's hand is, but it's also light and ephemeral. And he says, what little power the Forge has left after all these years of being dormant, if you could make sure that the others who would seek to use it for ruin and corruption. If you can get there first, I will make sure that whatever little power it has left is channeled to make you a mighty weapon.
I understand. I will
Have
head there
us-
immediately.
He nods. Have as much bread as you want. And he gets up and he walks out the door. And as he does, slowly, kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch, how it like shakes down from the bottom. The whatever this is, very similar actually to Max's forest that was conjured last night. Like almost raindrops melt it away. And you're in your room.
I think 9 would just not taking too much. He would take just a bite, and he would put it in his mouth and chew on it for a second.
It has this like little sprig of rosemary in it, and it is so sweet. Like for sure there is like honey, maybe some molasses, but also like maybe like almost a little bit of like cornbread. Like it's this very sweet, very dense. Like it would be so good dipped in like a stew. Oh, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he would after seeing the map, reading the letter, and speaking with Lathander, looking on this map, like in what direction from us would we have to go to get to the destination on the map?
How about if I unveil it? Would that be useful?
Most definitely. Oh, so it was where we were. Okay.
It's really close to Phandalin. And the map has given it a name. And the name is Wave Echo Cave.
Yeah.
Everybody's liking our food descriptions. I am a hobbit in real life, you guys. Like, it's the only reason I play these games is to describe food.
Yeah, I guess after speaking with Lathander, 9 would definitely go to the group at this point and tell him his predicament, like why he needs to go to that area as soon as possible.
As you go out into kind of the main area, Denny and Graja are enjoying a private little chat in the music room where Denny was practicing. Excuse me. Where Denny was practicing. Denny and Graja are enjoying just a nice little moment, and you kind of stand at the door and watch as they are viciously mauled by a black cat. Poor Abby.
She does not realize that this is a wig. I know. Thank you very much, baby. It's so kind of you.
So kind. And Whimsy and the wolves are not there, and Max is not there, but Denny and Graja are there.
Yeah, 9 would walk up to Denny and Graja and be like, "Hey guys, I just had a conversation with Lathander, and it seems there's a place just outside of where Phandalin was that I need to go. There's potential for there to be magic there that could be misused by some not so upstanding individuals."
Do you think it
And
maybe has to do with, like, Gundren and Glassstaff and everything?
there's always that potential. I'm not for certain, but I with there being magic there, that could be what Glassstaff might they might find it interesting. And the sooner I can get there to take that piece off the board for them, the better.
Well, it sounds like
mean-
a
Go ahead.
pretty good lead. I think we might all go do that. I if it's that important, I don't want you to go by yourself. Not that you're not capable. I know you're capable. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't think it would hurt if we came along. Abigail.
Yeah,
What about
I
you?
mean,
Get out of here.
I think we needed a lead, honestly. So I think we should follow it and we should help you.
I would truly appreciate y'all's help with this task. Hopefully Whimsy and Max is as excited as you two.
The Wolves could use a good run. I'm sure Whimsy would be all for it.
I'm sure they would like that.
Max, you have woken up for the third or fourth day in a row, just a little bit of like eye crusties. You keep recurling your hair, but it's probably time for like a full wash. You've slowly gone from like cat eyes sharp enough to stab a man to like the all smudge look, as just like you haven't been able to totally reapply your makeup. Super glamorous still, super gorgeous still. Nobody's questioning that. But it is time to like go home, check in, fresh change of clothes, all that kind of stuff. And you get into your apartment. It's where you actually had met Whimsy the first time. Whimsy was kind of going around introducing themselves to all of the neighbors. And your apartment is like behind and around one of the bakeries in town. It's a ground floor apartment. It's got a really beautiful like courtyard porch, and you spend a lot of time there. Just kind of watching the streets, watching what happens. But as you go in, you can see that some mail has been delivered. There's some mail for you on the floor.
Yeah, I pluck it up. Head inside, and kind of toss it on the counter, get myself fixed up, and then I check the mail because I have priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do get yourself cleaned up. You fully like remoisturize, oil treatment, do a little bit of like eyebrow shaping, and you can even do your own threading. That's how talented you are. Like, you are fully glamorous. A little bit of like a sugar wax if you need to. Yeah, all the stuffs.
Oh, I've got to keep up appearances.
Absolutely. And as you pick up, one of them is like your housing is, I don't want to say a human right. Housing is a basic right of all people of Coneyberry. It's not about rent. It's not about how much you can afford. Everybody gets housing. Housing is a basic right. But you do still have to like pay your share of whatever, it's a sliding scale kind of a situation. And so that notice is there. A letter from the local like leather makers, that they have some new like harnesses in stock with some very special jewels, and you're like, oh, that might be interesting. And one of the letters has this deep purple ink, and right away there is only one person who writes to you in this very drow purple color.
Great. I'll look at it for a moment and shrug and rip it open. What's it say?
As you open it, it's these little like black little pieces of confetti that are super sharp fall into your hand. How decadent. Like, is this not the most drow thing that you've ever heard of? They are so over the top. Great news, darling. We draw closer to the Aquetch each day. I wish you could join us in this last push, but I am happy that you're safe in doing what you love. If you do come down this way, there are many treasures to be had, friend. May fortune shine favors upon us both. I'm sending a few flakes of the beautiful stones that we're finding to try and entice you to come and join us. And you look, and actually these pieces aren't confetti. They're little flakes of obsidian.
Huh. I am intrigued. But I set the letter down and examine the stone. Is there anything special besides just that it's obsidian, or because I think I detect magic, so I can do that, but
go ahead. Spin your spell, detect your magic.
I do it. I do the thing. I detect
you
the
do
magic.
your thing. And as you do, you kind of take your guitar pick, your arcane focus, and just kind of like in one hand, almost like a fidget. You're moving it in one hand as you're kind of looking up at this piece of obsidian. And it's not that the obsidian is magic. It's that when an environment is in the presence of such rich arcane nature, it cannot help but to sustain some of the infusion of that like arcane ley line. And you have seen places like this before. There is this place. It was a different kind of magic. It was a necrotic magic. It's one of the things that actually pointed you to Coneyberry in the first place. It was called the Old Owl Well, and it had just like the nature of the land itself was necrotic, had been riddled with death for a long time. When you had passed through, there were some freshly dug graves, but it wasn't. But it wasn't the graves that added to the necrotic nature. It was that the land, the old dirt itself had been infused with this necrotic nature. And as such, as you look at this, this is an abjuration magic. This is a very specific kind of magic. This is like an augmentation and adding to magic, that has such a, like, how some people have synesthesia, like you see a color, but it tastes like something. When you look at schools of magic, they have different things. And abjuration magic is what you imagine angels sound like when they're singing. Abjuration magic is beautiful.
Have I, during my communications with this individual, gotten any sense of where this thing is or why they're looking for it?
You know that what they're looking for would redistribute the power dynamics of the Sword Coast, which are largely like human, dwarf, and elven. This would redistribute the power dynamics to help peoples who have been oppressed, and they are very interested in finding it so that a place like Coneyberry wouldn't need to exist, that everybody could find a home anywhere.
Okay. I'm going to sweep up all the obsidian, drop them in the envelope, back in the envelope, and just tuck it in my fresh jacket. And I think I will go and find my dear friend Whimsy.
You step out your door and you kind of head back towards the house to go find Whimsy. Whimsy, you're prowling through the streets of Ponyberry, as you have been so often these last couple of weeks, in new form, one that is not totally unrecognizable. Like, you're the only bright orange wolf that anybody maybe has ever seen, and you still have your horns. But people are maybe polite enough just not to, those who know that this kind of magic exists are polite enough not to point it out, that they know who you are. Not everybody understands what this kind of magic is. Not everybody would make the connection. The druids in town for sure know what this is.
It's just one of the boys now.
Absolutely. Well, and the girl. Boys and the girl. Yeah.
No, she's the best boy. That's the way it works.
She
All
is the
dogs are
best.
good boys, especially the girls.
Yes, that's it's hard to argue with that. Yeah. That is 100% true. And you guys and you guys are kind of sulking around. And as you see Max come out into one of the main crossroads and kind of dart across it, looking like she's heading back towards the house.
Whimsy sort of growls low at the other wolves, and they, like, as one, sort of spread out and sneak up on her.
Has Whimsy ever been in wolf form around Max before?
I'm gonna say it's no secret, but I don't know if she's actively seen it. Because he's pretty proud that he can do this now. Like, he's pumped.
Right.
He was iffy about using a lot of his magic, but this is, like, what he's always wanted.
And how close are you going to get to Max?
Feel like that's something I should probably roll for. For how
Could do.
Sneak up.
Yeah. And Max, give me a perception check.
Stealth. As stealthy as a bright orange wolf can be.
Absolutely.
You have to roll a disadvantage for that?
That was a 16.
16 perception.
If I roll another one. A 12. He is not subtle.
A 12. I mean, Max, they would have gotten away with it if Whimsy wouldn't have been howling at the top of his lungs the instructions to the other wolves in Coneyberry, which is not the wild nature, like it's a city.
Yeah. I pretend like they surprise me.
Right.
I just like very casually pull out my guitar and just keep playing. Maybe I'm singing a little bit, and I'm just like when little kids try to sneak up on you and stuff, or that gif of the polar bear mama that's like, oh my goodness, you survived, it surprised me. That.
Whimsy is quite pleased.
Whimsy is quite pleased.
He
Whimsy, yeah, absolutely. You found Whimsy, Max.
Ah, wonderful. I was just trying to find you. Are you going to stay in this form, or are you going to come back to us and bipedally? I mean, I can keep talking. It's fine.
He can't talk right now. He can talk to the wolves because he speaks to animals, but he cannot do people noises.
Nope. You just keep trotting along, Whimsy, trailing Max, going side by side with Max back to the house.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right.
So
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
For my clarity, do I get the sense that my contact...
Did you guys just lose Farah also?
Would want me to keep that quiet? Or like,
oh
no, I hear you.
Okay, it froze for like a hot minute.
Oh god.
But it might have been me. Do you get the sense that that's where you froze for me?
That my contact is explicitly wanting me to keep this quiet, like on the down low.
Your friend, you and your friend connected because of a shared kind of activism that Whimsy and Denny, but Denny comes from like a pretty wealthy family who lives in like a mostly human town. Denny hasn't really experienced some of like the shittier side of, being a minority, like in the space. And Graja has like a human parent, and a big heart of gold. Like, I don't know, they're maybe not as much of an activist, like you spent a lot of like your younger years at like you learned maybe to play, I don't know, you tell me if this rings true for Max. That some like Max learned to play at like protest rallies. Like Max spent some time, I don't know, you tell me if that rings true.
So Max's mom was I don't want to say courtesan because that's not quite right, but she ran in a lot of the philosophical circles in Cormier. And so a lot of that philosophy was very much like fuck the system, right. So there was a lot of that. And so, right. She probably learned some of those anthems of, down with the ruling classes, equality for all, and so on. So there was very much that sort of thing. A lot of it was philosophical more than active, but she definitely saw a lot of it once she went to school as well. Yeah. So I think she'd see in the others, especially based on her time at school, that they're very good people, but not necessarily like, let's burn the system down.
Right. And whereas they fall on that side of the pendulum, this friend of yours is the other way. They are like, here's a match. Are you coming or not? Your other friend is like very much, let's go. And Max, kind of spans the difference that between the two.
I'm in the gray.
Matches sure. Hair. Absolutely.
So in that case, as we are walking, I'll just be like, I got the most interesting letter today, with some very interesting stones. I mean, truly the most, well, I don't spend a lot of time underground, but anyway, but I'm wondering if we couldn't, I don't know, take a look at it, see if maybe there's some value in it, something that we could do with it. I specialize in different kinds of stones generally, but hey, maybe you can help me out. Great.
It turns out polymorph lasts for the duration or until I hit 0 hit points, so I'm a wolf for an hour, depending on how long I've been a wolf roaming the street.
Is polymorph a concentration spell?
I think so.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think you can just drop it when you feel like you're done.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not done, Max will happily just
concentration.
Anyway.
Transformation lasts for the duration or until the target drops to 0 hit points.
Okay.
Nothing about concentration. He's just a wolf. He can practice active listening.
Oh, so polymorph, next to the word polymorph, there's a diamond with the letter C. That means concentration.
That is? Okay, I thought that was a circle. I'm blind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are wearing blinding contacts, so that's fair. Yeah, I mean, you can drop it if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm sure Max is happy enough to talk for the both of you.
No, I guess once they get to like the yard of the house, he turns back into a people.
That's a wonderful trick.
As soon as they get back to the house, it becomes whimsy shaped again.
Mm-hmm. and you guys go in the house as I would imagine Graja, Dinny, and Nine are packing for a bit of a journey.
Yeah,
Where are we
Nine's
going?
almost ready to go.
We going on vacation?
I'm gonna step away and blow my nose again. I'll be right back.
Unfortunately, no, it's not a vacation, Whimsy. I got word from my deity that there's a task I need that needs my attention just a little outside of Phandalin. And I informed Graja and Denny here that there could be some magic that probably could be pretty bad if it got in the wrong hands. So I think I'm gonna be headed that way. Would you be willing to join?
Oh, of course. I mean, brunch can wait.
Magic.
If you need,
There'll be brunch along the way, I promise.
I
We'll pack a
Uh,
picnic basket.
the specifics of the magic max I'm not aware of at this time, but all I know is that it could be bad for us if we don't pay it some attention.
I think it might have something to do with, you know, the job that we were originally sent on, and something with Gundren or Glassstaff. I think maybe it could have something to do with that.
Whimsy just sort of narrows his eyes and he's like, Gundren. Because it has been bothering him this whole time that he has a contract that still hasn't been finished. He needs to go to Gundren and get his payment so their deal is done. Because he held up his end and dropped the supplies at the shop in Phandalin, as he was told to. And he's like, I need to finish this contract. If there's any chance Gundren is there, I am there. And Glassstaff, I guess. But Gundren.
Mhm.
It
Sounds
has
like
been niggling at Whimsy this whole time that he has an unfinished contract out there.
So are we in agreement of our heading?
I've never been on an adventure like what you guys do. That sounds like fun.
Well, you're more than welcome to come.
I'll go pack a bag.
Yeah, Whimsy goes and starts throwing stuff into his backpack as well.
And he has
Max.
14 bags. He's going to try and narrow that down by the time we leave.
Whimsy shakes out his portable hole as well and tips like half a bookcase in there just for some light reading.
Yeah, Whimsy, you've been doing a lot of reading. And as Nine mentions the Forge of Spells, there have been a couple of things. Here's my question for Whimsy. Has Whimsy been keeping track of where he got particular books?
For the most part. Some of them he just dumped in there.
Yep.
Like when he tipped the entire... So he's pretty sure most of the loose ones came from when he just tipped an entire bookshelf in there.
Yep.
But otherwise, a lot of the ones that he like originally was shoving in his pockets, he kept separate.
Yeah. So the mention of the Forge of Spells, you had trying to read them chronologically from when you got them. And the Forge of Spells was something that you read about very early on. It was in the basement of Trezendar Manor where you all found Droop, where you were hot on the tails,
right?
Where you were also hot on the tail of Glassstaff. There was a book about the Forge of Spells and the history of the Forge of Spells, that it was this a place where humans and elves and dwarves in an age of fighting between all races, this was the first time that they came together to form an alliance, which then it was this like huge ley line, like a hellmouth of magic that allowed a forge to be built on top of it that magical weapons could be created in. And it was because of their pact there and the war that died off because they forged a pact there that allowed for the major cities along the Sword Coast to be created. And it's mostly fallen into like myth and lore at this point, because it was so long ago. But as this book tells it, it is foundational to the peace that exists on the Sword Coast between the major, the dominant races of human, elves, and dwarves.
So Whimsy sort of picks through some of his books then, in that case, if he recognizes that, he, instead of like grabbing a few random books for reading, he takes the relevant books.
Yeah.
So you can sort of thumb through things while they're resting at night.
Sure.
Study on the go.
It doesn't give you a description of where it is, except for that it's central to the Sword Coast. And any kind of like a forge isn't a place where there's going to be fire, right? So whether that's like man created, like with hot coals and bellows and shit, or whether that's like a volcano, which tends to be like the forges of ye grand old, adventures, almost all like there's a dragon involved or there's a volcano involved, it seems to you that it would not just be like in the glade near the mere, like it's going to be in a place.
It go as far as to have Whimsy even like putting question marks on random volcanoes and stuff and being like, here.
Yeah, the nearest volcano to you, it hasn't been active in thousands of years, maybe. But there's two that are within a few days' walk. There's one that's kind of north. It's called Mount Hotanau. And it most recently erupted during the Spell Plague, and like fucking tore asunder Neverwinter. Neverwinter barely survived the last time Mount Hotanau blew. Let me just make that word visible. So that's up north, north of like the Neverwinter. If you go from like Thunder Tree and Neverwinter and kind of go straight north, Mount Hotanau is up there. And then kind of to the south of you, there's one called Ice Spire Peak. And Ice Spire was a volcano that's erupted more recently. Or sorry, not more recently. Mount Hotanau is the most recent volcano in the region, and that was like several hundred years ago. Ice Spire Peak has been dormant for thousands and thousands of years.
So yeah, on both of those, Whimsy's got like a little question mark being like forge.
Could be. Max, did you show everybody the obsidian flakes?
I did not, because we didn't have time.
Yeah, that's
fair. And I don't think I even heard that it was a forge that we're going to, so I don't know if Max would have made a connection there. But when they come back, if it comes up, she's not going to hide it necessarily. But she's starting to piece things together, I think.
Sure. Finally, in our last few minutes here before we have to wrap up, Denny, that night that Graja and Nine were gone, they had gone out. It was the night after Graja's nightmare. You hadn't really been drinking heavily because you were in charge of Droop, right? Graja didn't take Droop. You hadn't been drinking super heavily. As you were asleep, you could swear that you heard like pounding, boom, 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 like some kind of pounding noise. But I don't know. Maybe it was just a headache. It didn't sound like Droop. You woke up the next morning and there was like like some stone shavings on the ground around you, some like a nail, just like a rando nail on the floor there. So weird. So weird. Like half under a rug. Like it's a good thing that you found it because you didn't want Droop to step on it. Like tetanus shots are hard to get even in Coneyberry.
Well, Denny is confused and is definitely going to have a word with the maid, but he doesn't really think too much of it.
Yeah. Just weird. Whimsy, you remember hearing at night, like in the wolf pile. In fact, all of you have. I mean, look, we all know that Coneyberry is like a very sex positive place, and that Denny has definitely made some friends, and that Denny has had some construction going on in his room. I don't know that you guys wanted to ask. Look at Sean has earmuffs on. I don't know that you guys wanted to specifically ask. You know, you guys are all friends, but you're not like intimately in each other's business, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, there's just, but it's just kind of annoying. Nobody's bothered to bring it up with Denny because Denny's the one paying the bills. It's just kind of annoying that Denny's only doing construction at night. It's weird. And I think that's where we'll leave it, with you guys packed and ready to go. Ready to head to the Wave Echo Cave, which is where, if my pacing is right, we're going to spend the next several episodes. So if there's anything that you need to shop for before you head away, have it on your list for next week. Thank you. Thank you to my players. You guys, we got through a whole episode. Season 2, we're off. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
No one, I mean.
Just in dreams.
Man, you got me good. You got me, gal. You got me.
Woo! When I was sitting down, I wasn't even thinking really about Phandalin. And I just had this vision of like Graja on her knees, cradling Droop's body. And I was like, how do I make this happen? This is a thing that I need to see Sarah roleplay.
How do I hurt them?
And it's just like, you guys know me. I'm not like a super punitive emotional damage DM, like, but it was a good sequence. You can't, it was a good sequence. I'm very proud.
When I saw, when you changed the map and it was just me in the center, I was like, oh no, I got so scared.
Let's go around and get all of my players to introduce themselves, where you can find them playing some other things or what they're doing. And we'll give some shout outs at the end to the channel and to our sponsors. Let's start with our newest companion that we're so excited to have here on the show with us, Farah.
Yeah, so I'm Farah Sarkaya. You can find me a lot of places. Right now, you can find me in Crossroad Games, Death Toll Undead. It is a zombie horror game, and my character is badass. And a bunch of other places. And here, until Max does something mysterious, maybe? Who knows? Who can say? And I'm just super excited to be here, y'all. You can find me on Twitter at Farrakaya. Same with Instagram or Farrakaya Artwork. And that's about
it. Nikki.
Hey everybody, Nikki here. I've been playing Denny. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter under I'm Poppy Field. I will be posting a bunch new TikToks because I'm in costume, so I'm gonna make a bunch. And you can also find me starting next Saturday playing Monster Care Squad, where I play a magical veterinarian that's obsessed with mushrooms. So come and check that out. It's going to be very fun.
Over on Girls Run These Worlds.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, on Girls Run These Worlds.
And Farah, where is the Crossroads game?
You can find it on YouTube or by following Crossroad X Games on Twitter, and I will post the link into the chat.
Fantastic. Sarah Prime.
Hey, thanks everybody for watching our season 2 premiere. My name is Sarah. You can find me on Twitter at MC I'm also a creative partner at Martlet Games. The first thing I'll shout out is normally you can find me here on Vancouver on Saturdays as part of the Saturday Vampire the Masquerade takeover, playing Prince Jude Duncan, the Prince of Vancouver. So normally you can find me here for Vancouver by Night Delve into Darkness at 6 p.m. Eastern time zones. Other than that, you can actually join us at Martlet Games at 9:30 Eastern p.m. tonight. My dear spouse is running a homebrewed 80s evil arcade game. So kind of took some cues from the Vampire 5th edition, but it's all mortals, and it's going to be some people at a horrifying theme park. It's called Insert Coin, so that'll be on Martlet Games at 9:30 p.m. this evening as a final to our Darthtober month of spooky scares. Last thing is I'm a storyteller for a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle called London's Bleeding, which takes place in 1919 London. We are on a slight hiatus right now as we are battling the real big bad evil guy, which is scheduling to do our finale. But you can get caught up with all of London's Bleeding Season 1 and 2 on the Martlet Games YouTube channel, so you can be all up as our chronicle comes to an end here very soon. That's it for me. Thank you.
Sarah, I'm going to get you to grab the Game Hers link because today's the last day of voting, and we'll talk about that in a second too.
Okay.
Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I've been playing Whimsy, the Tiefling Warlock, and occasionally the Wolf. I'm not doing too much else right now. I've got a couple things that are on hiatus until question mark. However, you can find me on Instagram or TikTok as Balderdashing. I do a lot of costume D&D skits because I like costumes and making an ass of myself. And yeah, that's all I got.
Sean.
I'm just excited to be back.
I'm so excited you're back.
Hey guys, I'm Sean. Play 9, the human paladin who's looking to get a little magic in his life. You can find me here on Phandalin and acting foolish on most social medias.
I have a couple of things. First, I want to shout out Roll for Adventure. Adventure Dice. Roll for Adventure. Adventure Dice is your Canadian source for dice, role-playing game accessories, and other tabletop gaming goods. Many of the items on their site are handcrafted in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Thank you for sponsoring us here on Vancouver by Night. Adventure Dice, we're so glad that you did. I want to shout out, today's the last day of voting for Game Hers, and this little, our little campaign is in the finals up against like Dimension 20 and High Rollers D&D and Abria Iyengar the Person. And give her all the things. I'm happy to be in the finals with her. But go and vote for us. It is your very last chance. So please go drop a link in the chat. Go and vote. Today is the last day. And yeah, we find out November 29th whether or not we won. My name is Sarah. I have been your dungeon mistress here on Phandalin by Night. I am so glad to be back at this table for season 2. Thank you all for, hopefully I wasn't too sick sounding, and we got through a whole game. I am so excited to tell this story. We are here through the end of the year. We're going to be going every week until December 18th. So come back and spend your Sunday afternoons with us. Thank you to Vancouver by Night for having us back for our second season. We're so thrilled to be here with you. If you want to go back and catch our first season, you can find that on YouTube, YouTube at Vancouver by Night. Yeah, thanks everybody. We're going to raid the compound, playing a game. That's what I can tell you about the compound. Thank you everybody for joining us. We will see you next week. Bye.